What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Everything Paranormal Show. I'm your host, Josh, and tonight we're going to be discussing Poltergeist. That's right, we're going to be talking about not the movie, even though I do have the image of the movie, but we're going to be talking about what is a poltergeist. We're going to be discussing some of the theories involving in that as well. Want to say hi to any of the people out there in chat. So, what's up, everybody? If you're watching this live, if you're watching the recording later on, well, that's awesome too. So, let's dive right in. Now, one thing I want to tell you also, one thing to remember during the show is that you're welcome to chime in. That's what this show is about. You're welcome to chime in if you have some comments or obviously, you want to try to keep it related to what we're talking about tonight, but by all means, chime in, ask questions. If you want to add something in there, by all means, this is your chance. This is what this show is about, and I appreciate you guys out there for making that happen. So, let's get into some poltergeist. So, poltergeist. We hear the term, most people think of the movie probably, from even back in the day. It's been one of those sort of movies that stuck with the culture and, in the world of paranormal. And so a lot of people will reference that. It was kind of an epic movie back then. So it really stands the test of time in that sense. But in this case, we're going to look at a little bit of what is an actual poltergeist. Well, first, if you look at the word, it is a German-based word, and originally kind of means like noisy ghost or noisy spirit, even rumble ghost. So this, of course, was a description on the style of hauntings, because, as there was investigations throughout the years and decades, there was obviously they were recognizing different styles. And one particular style was a very noisy. We're talking about some of the things are like physical disturbances, objects being moved or even destroyed, levitation of objects, and of course knocking doors and windows. So of course it's a very loud, like I said, thus the name noisy ghost or noisy spirit. So that's where it comes from. Now, as we get into why they occur, or what sort of the word poltergeist has evolved to, I think in the world of paranormal, again, people aren't sure exactly. Sometimes they hear poltergeist and it's kind of scary to them. And of course, through the years, even all the way back to the 19th century, poltergeists were, it was very scary for people. And they just, the word alone drew that kind of fear from people. So, what's up, Achiever One? I wanted to shout out specific to you, by the way. Hi. But anyways, they were studying this all through the years. And in fact, really, it was Alan Kardec, who was really the founder of Spiritism back in the 19th century, said that poltergeists are manifestations of disembodied spirits of low level. In other words, like associated with like elements like earth, fire, air, water. So that was the original theory on that. Of course, as we went through the years, we had just tons of other parapsychologists, even skeptical scientists, things like that. They've tried to debunk things. In fact, some of the speculations over the years was that poltergeist activity was possible seismic activity that was popular for a while. And of course, the ever classic hoaxes, elaborate hoaxes, right? There was that theories. There was also underground water theories, where when homes had underground water tables and the water pressures, and they could disturb the home. And anyway, so that's just a few of the different speculations. Of course, you could probably say that about any paranormal. You're going to have the same type of things: hoaxes, seismic activity, hallucinations, whatever, you name it. But that's just some of the ones that were noted for that. Now, really, it was, some psychologists or some parapsychologists and stuff that had started getting into the theory of the angst teen, which some people start talking about, sort of that naughty girl syndrome. But really, it was when parapsychologists Nander Fodor and William Roll actually was the first ones to really suggest that the poltergeist activity could be explained by psychokinesis. So if you're not really familiar with psychokinesis, it's sort of the real version of the Force. If you're like a fan of Star Wars, and if you're not a fan of Star Wars, let me just say it's like the invisible energy that we put out there. Okay, Psychokinetic Energy, or PKE. So we put out this PKE, this psychokinetic energy. This is the basis for all things of psychics, telepaths, things like that, like to do mental telepathy or telekinesis, to move things with our mind. This is that energy plane that allows that to happen. So again, you can see there's where the mainstream science is, and then there is kind of what people are saying. Oh my God! Again, it's the psychokinetic energy is going to be how you feel about that. I do think that there is an energy we put out there, whether it's measurable or not. Again, now I know that we put out EMF, like these frequency with alpha waves and stuff, our brain waves. We do put those things out there. But again, that immeasurable psychokinetic energy, we do add to the universe and things. There's a lot that you can really explain with that. So they had suggested that it was through that psychokinesis. Now, over the years, and again, they did different studies, and there's all kinds of things that's been, disproved and linked and added and all these things. But in all honesty, the theory ultimately evolved to where a lot of investigators now, when they go, like, if you're a good investigator, okay, I say good because we have over 5,000 paranormal investigation teams registered. I believe it's over 5,000 that's registered with paranormalsociety.com, and God knows how many is not even registered. But it doesn't mean they're all good. One of the problems, and I am going to get a little sidetracked from Poltergeist because that's what we do here. Hey, there's my wife. Hey, Terry Lynn. But one of the things that was brought up recently is that there's a lot of paranormal investigation teams that what happened was they were educated through the TV shows. So in 2004 was the big start of the boom, okay? I really don't want to throw names out there, but you know what I'm talking about. All these big shows started happening, and we had 30-some plus paranormal shows at one time, I think, that was happening on at the same time, and there was all kinds of them out there. But you had all these teams that were watching these shows, and then so what they were doing is they were imitating and regurgitating the same things that they saw on TV. So they were like, and they were just focused on, well, you're having a haunting in this house, and then that's because we went to the library and we found out that a guy died in this house and he had a toothache and he's very upset and he's haunting you now and he wants some toothpaste or something. I don't know. Anyways, blah blah blah. It's stupid. It's the same regurgitated crap over and over, and it's not really helping people. Okay, and which brings me to my next point: helping people. You should, again, if you know what you're doing or somewhat know what you're doing, yeah, you should help people in that sense, but let me put this in perspective. There's a bunch of you that may watch this video, and maybe you've you've seen my posts out there in the paranormal forums. I post questions out there, theoretical questions that I believe are worthy of discussion. And, I want to see what people speculate. Like, I know a lot of the answers, or at least I have theories to the answers, or theories to the questions, but I want to see what you guys think. So I put these questions out there, and I get all kinds of responses that, like, the next day I'll see, like, just hundreds of notifications of people that's commented on these questions. And there's a huge range of responses. Everybody loves to give their 2 cents on, what a ghost is and why do they have red eyes, or why do some of them have red eyes, whatever. All these different questions. But here's the thing. Today, I posted a question, and some of you may be watching this and maybe you remember. Today I posted a question to a bunch of forums that I just basically said, hey, if somebody was being attacked by spirits and whatnot, like, what advice would you give them? And the funny thing is that I didn't get that many comments. Like, I got a bunch of likes. I got some comments, and some people put some good advice in there. But in comparison to all the other questions, so see, everybody wants to sit back and, sort of be that armchair detective and just be like, hey, I think this and I think that, but they can't help anybody. They can't tell anybody what to do when they have them. And see, and that's one of the biggest problems. There's so many people out there that have these problems. Poltergeist, right? Poltergeist activity. They have these problems. Or even intelligent hauntings and, whatever, residual, all these different forms of hauntings. They don't know how to deal with it. They can't really go to the church. They can, but again, we've already seen over these last few decades, the churches tend to not be able to give you the type of answers that you really need, other than just, hey, go, pray to Jesus, which is good, but that kind of negates the whole Bible. The Bible's supposed to have a lot of things in it to help give you the answers, other than just skip to the end and say, well, just pray to Jesus, everything will work out. Well, I mean, that's good advice. You should pray to Jesus. But my point is that, so people need some filling. They need to understand some things. So, but in any case, a lot of people don't feel comfortable going to their church or going to a church. So then they turn to possibly science. Well, as you know, mainstream science does not like to tackle paranormal. They shoot down everything. If it's an EVP, it's an audio effect, right? If it's a still picture, we're matrixing. Everything that we do in the paranormal, the science has a way of saying, oh, it's a hoax. Oh, it's, and I forget the exact term. Some of you can probably remember it. But there's that, where you basically hear what you want to hear. It's like matrixing with hearing. And that's what they say EVPs are, which I think is full of crap. By the way, I have nothing against cussing. I just don't always do it on this show. Sometimes I want to. Anyways, but no, I mean, seriously, guys. So I just think about all this stuff. So I don't script all this stuff out, guys. I have like some notes, because I want to make sure I give you guys some of the facts. But for the most part, I like to pretty much talk and let things go where they go, and let you guys also be able to ask questions and things like that as well. But in any case, what I was getting at was investigators and things like that, people not getting the answers. Well, so they turn to these investigators, right? They turn to investigators, the paranormal investigators, because they're like, hey, I need some answers. So these investigators come out, and sometimes they come out in their cheesy little, hearse thing that they converted, and they're trying to be like some kind of weird gothic version of Ghostbusters. And they show up, and they go in, and then they do their thing, but they don't always properly tell them how to deal with it. Okay? And now you guys probably have seen that. So especially when you go online. So if you guys are part of forums, you guys are part of these forum things. Yeah, and just to interrupt. Yeah, my wife's right. We are starting to get lightning, so if for some reason the live show ends, I'm sorry. We are starting to get some lightning around here. We got some storms in the area, so I just thought I'd let you know that. Okay, so anyways, back to what we're talking about was the quality of paranormal investigators, right? So again, and I'm not saying that as an investigator that you're going to know everything. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have to be able to try and help people as well. Give them some actual answers. That's why I push myself and people like, I've got a friend of mine. I'm going to give a shout out to him, Pastor Sean Carter. He just goes by Sean Carter most of the time, but I just say that so people know that, I don't want people to be afraid of him. But Sean Carter, he's really cool. And he's got a new group. I'll even plug it for him. I want to say it's called he just kind of changed it up a little bit, but it was like Pneumaticos Paranormal. And I think it was before he added Spiritual Pneumaticos Paranormal. I thought it was cool, just Pneumaticos Paranormal. I thought that was a pretty cool name, but I think he wanted to add the spiritual part, or spiritualism maybe. But one of those. Anyways, if you want, check it out. He talks about paranormal, and he has more of the religion side of it. So that's really cool. But the point is what I like about Sean, even though him and I don't fully line up, we got some pretty similar paths on some things. But what's really cool is that he likes to push people into deeper thought, right? And that's what I like about what he does. And that's kind of what I try to do with these paranormal groups. Let's not always just talk about, do you believe in ghosts? Well, most of us do. 50% of Americans pretty much do. But why are there ghosts? Let's start connecting the dots on a deeper level. People get afraid to talk about that because it takes them to either religion, or it takes them to, just pagan beliefs or different things. And then people start getting touchy. But the thing is that's fine. We need to talk about those things. We need to talk about why and how these things connect, and what kind of paperwork do you have? What kind of backing do you have to kind of connect the dots? And some of the older scriptures are biblical, so again, and I'm not talking about hieroglyphs, I'm just talking about actual scriptures and things like that as well. But anyways, we're not going to go into that debate. My point is that it's there's always going to be different sides of the conversation. It's just like Achiever said, two sides of the situation. There's always going to be different perspectives, and that's what's really cool. That's one of the positive things about the forums online and places where people can meet and discuss, even like the show. I don't force people to follow my views. I try to put them out there because I feel like my views have been very much like the truth lies in the middle. So usually most of all the things that I theorize on have been things that I've been connecting together that are very common, and most people will agree with that. But again, I'm not going to force people to follow those views. So getting back to Poltergeist, the reason why all of that was important to get back to the subject was that good investigators will ask questions. They will investigate and detect, like being a detective. They will look at the whole picture of what's going on in a household. Okay? And they will ask questions. they will find out, because sometimes this poltergeist activity could be, an angsty teenager. If they have a teenage, girl especially, and the 13s, 14s, 15-year-olds, those are the type that can put out enough PKE, that psychokinetic energy, to cause these disturbances. Now, where some people may differ is they may look at what's behind the poltergeist. Ultimately, yes, what they call an agent, okay, that would be like the teenager, right? So let's say you had a teenager who's just going through puberty, they're emotional, and we're talking probably over the top stuff, and they're putting out this massive amounts of energy, and it's creating this poltergeist activity. Well, this is where people say, well, that energy, where is it going from that person? See, these are the questions we have to ask. See, it's easy for somebody to get up here and say, yes, poltergeist is, a moody teenager creating this energy out there and things like that. It's easy to say that. You can look that up you can Google it. What I'm telling you is, what happens? How does that energy go from that teenager to stacking a set of chairs in the kitchen? Okay? Because isn't that part of poltergeist activity? Walking in and finding, perfectly stacked furniture or doors slamming and things like that. How does that happen? How does that energy, especially, is there like a teenager getting mad and they're like, oh, I'm picturing chairs getting stacked and doors slamming? No. It's not. It's most of the time it's not really conscious. So it's subconscious energy. And this energy, you can look at it a couple of ways. You can look at, and this is exactly what we're talking about, like Achiever's talking about, with a couple of ways to get to an understanding. You can look at, is the energy somewhat intelligent, or is it more elemental side? And that goes all the way back to that Alan Kardec guy, the guy that from the 19th century, when he was, theorizing that poltergeist activity is low level, meaning, from the elements. So what happens to that energy when it leaves that person and it's out there, and then what causes it to decide to open a door and slam it, or to move an object or drop an object or something like that? What causes that type of intelligence? Or is there any kind of intelligence behind it at all, and it's just the energy finding something that can move? I don't know. It's kind of weird on something like that. That's why I think that, me personally, I think there is spirits behind poltergeist, but I also think it works hand in hand with an agent. So I think that the agent is the teenager, or possibly it doesn't always have to be a teenager. I don't want to just keep picking on, teenagers going through puberty, but it can also be in very emotional homes and things like that. But those particular, I believe that when they're putting that energy out there, I think spirits are able to use that energy. Because let's think about it. I want you guys to think about it, right? How many times have we seen energy drains, battery drains? Spirits, ghosts, they love to draw energy. Okay, that's what helps. They're in a spiritual energy, but their spiritual energy can't interact with us. They have to use our energies to interact on our realm. So think about how many times they've drained batteries and whatever they could do. We've seen manipulation of EMFs. Okay, we see manipulations of EMF. We see when they manipulate energies, we have ion evidence. When the ions are affected, because the energy, and the whole, I explained that in another video. But we have evidence of various forms of energy that occur during hauntings, or a haunting. There's really no plural for hauntings, but But when you have a haunting, mini haunting, there's, again, there's evidence of energy. So, again, I would theorize that in a poltergeist, if you have a moody teen or particular people that are more in tune with their energies and things like that are putting out those energies, I do think that, yes, there is spirits, whether they're evil spirits, whether they're human ghosts, but most likely evil spirits, that are using that energy. Okay? They're using that energy to then be able to do that. And the reason why that particular style is loud, thus the term noisy ghost, is because the energy that's put out there is extreme. It's pretty high, and it's allowing them to do some things like slamming doors and stacking and levitating things. When you start putting out that PKE, that spiritual psychic energy, when you put that out there, that is pure. That's like octane boost for ghosts. When they drain a battery, like they drain your camera and they drain things, that's still, they have to convert that. But when you put that raw PKE, that's like their energy, right? That's like their octane. That's why they're so noisy. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's I was just reading the comments, so yeah. Stay away from, turn the lights off. Yay. We'll just turn all the lights off, enjoy the flashes of light so we can be in like a horror movie. No thanks. Just let the lights go out on the road and then we'll burn some candles. But since we're doing a show and we can cover other topics, I did want to let's see here. Let me see if I can go. No, not that. Where is it? Hey, there. Look, it's me. I'm a full cam. All right, look, let me check this out. Let me show you guys. Now, last time I showed you guys this. All right. Let me see if I can show you that. That is my clear quartz. Okay. I made this. Yeah. I made this. That was my clear quartz I showed you guys a while back. And then I got a cage for it. And then I got it like a rope. So I just wanted to show you guys. I made it. I used to carry it in my pocket. Now I'm able to keep it on me all the time. It's my clear quartz. I have it programmed. So therefore, if you guys ever want to know more about crystals, we'll probably do a show where we talk about protection and things like that. Because I want to, just like I talked about earlier, I want to be able to help people as well. So we may look at a show instead of just theorizing like all the other websites and everything else. We may do a show on actual protection, things that you can do to either protect yourself, or maybe if you are experiencing some things, what are some of the steps that you can do? There's a few different ways that you can approach hauntings, but there is some that I know that work really well. But we may do an episode on that. I know that a lot of you have requested witchcraft. It was like when I did the vote, it was like neck and neck. Like witchcraft and poltergeist were like the top two subjects out of the poll. So next episode I may cover witchcraft, which, by the way, if anybody watches this, if you are a practicing witch, you may want to my email. You check out my the show email will be in the comments. Send me an email if you are interested in being on the show, because I would like to maybe have an actual practicing witch that can. But make sure you're knowledgeable though, please, because it would be nice to get some actual knowledge and just talk about things and get the perspective of somebody that deals in the witchcraft arts. Again, and it's not like I'm endorsing it or anything. Again, but we try to at least cover the show we try to at least cover the topics. So it'd be nice to at least have somebody on there that is maybe in that world and wants to at least talk about those things and and just give their kind of perspective on things. Not that we're going to be casting any spells or anything. We're not going to be doing anything like that. But it would be nice to maybe do that. But in any case, uh, so yes. But I do want to look at maybe doing some a future episode on protection and things like that. Because crystals do have power when you back them up with your energy. See, crystals are just rocks, and although, like I said, quartz and things like that do have the ability to. That's why they use quartz and like watches and things like that. They can build radios out of crystals and stuff. But what I'm saying is they're really not going to do you much good unless you program them. If you infuse your energy with them to give you protection and things like that. And different crystals do different things, and we'll cover some of that stuff. But so back to a little bit more on Poltergeist. But that's why I really wanted to talk about Poltergeist tonight. Also, was because again, it's a very hot topic sometimes with people, and you need to try to understand that. Now, how can you detect a poltergeist? Again, it's as an investigator, you're going to go and you're going to, of course, look at the family situation. You're going to see those things. And then you're also going to take into account the type of activity. Now, most of the time, with poltergeist activity, you don't tend to get really like intelligent EVP responses. And it's not always negative. You're not always getting like major negative feelings and things like that. So if you're getting that type of activity without a lot of negative feelings, in other words, like if you're not really feeling that evil spirit thing too much or like that demonic presence, and you're not really getting a lot of intelligent responses, chances are, if you got that situation going on in the home with either extreme emotions, then chances are, yes, you could be dealing with that type of activity. And then really it's going to be a matter of, as an investigator, you're going to have to determine what is the best course of action. Obviously, it's going to be some counseling, for whoever the issues are. If there's extreme emotions going on, then possibly going to have to try to calm some of that down. So let's see. Traylon says, "Wish I would have known about EVP back in my childhood home." Yeah, I mean that's pretty crazy. My wife definitely had a very active home growing up. I didn't have an active home where paranormal like home where I grew up. Now, we had a farmhouse, like we had 80 acres, what we called the farm. We used to call it going up north. We'd be like, hey, let's go up north. And so we'd go to the farm, and even though it was an old farm, we didn't do any farming, but we used the farmhouse for deer hunting. And my family, we grew up deer hunting back then. But just to tell you a little story from there, we would, I'd be like a little kid. I didn't even know. And I'd be laying there in bed, and my bed would be in the same little like upstairs bedroom as my grandparents, because my grandparents raised me. And so I'd have this other little cot kind of mattress off to the side, and then they had a bed that they would be in, and then they had it turned around to where the headboard was oh, excuse me. So I couldn't see them, but I could hear them talking. I mean, it was quiet. It was like death. I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere, right? Like stars like crazy. The middle of nowhere. You could hear cars and things coming from miles away. It was down a dirt road. So, thank you. So we would be laying there, and a lot of times, at that time during deer hunting season, up in central Michigan, we'd have snow back then, and you could lay there, and you would hear people talking. Like you could just hear, it's almost like two people were outside the cabin, walking around in the snow. You could hear the snow crunching, and you could hear like people talking, and you're like, what the heck? And my grandparents would talk about it, and of course they didn't freak out though. My grandparents were always trying to make me feel like just, hey, no big deal. So but you could always hear that, and it was like, I want to say it was one of my first experiences ever as a kid, that got me started to interested in the paranormal. So, but we would go out there, and I want to take this off of my face fully. there. We'll go to split screen at least. All right, sorry about that. I was like in your guys' face this whole time, but anyways, we just hear that, and then of course the next morning, or she'd send my grandpa outside, and she'd be like, "Go check outside," just to go look, whatever. And he'd go outside, and there was never any tracks. I mean, and the thing is like nobody could have came. There's nobody that could have just walked all that way in the middle of the night through the snow just to walk around our cabin, have an indistinguishable conversation, leave, and then cover their tracks up somehow. It's just impossible. So people can say all they want. I believe. So, okay, guys. So as we get ready to wrap up the show here in a little bit, this is the section of the show too where if you guys are watching and you have specific questions or you want to, interact, definitely go ahead and start popping them in the chat. I'll be more than happy to cover some of that stuff, talk about some of that stuff in this last part of the show. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the show tonight. Next week, I'm probably going to be giving away my first giveaway gift card. I'm looking at doing a gift card from Amazon. I just figure that way if anybody wants to go get themselves like a new, I don't know, EMF detector or something, or, or put something. So tell about your ghost. I can't tell another ghost story. I just shared the farm. So I got to space them out, honey. I got to space them out. I can't just give them everything, They won't come back anymore. They're like, he told us everything. Now, I mean, we have lots of stories between the investigations and all the stuff, But in all honesty, though, I will tell more ghost stories as we go. Okay? I will tell more as we go. But yeah, things coming up, guys. The cool thing is we got some new upgrades coming up. In fact, I've got some new studio stuff. I actually got a big old green screen. So we're going to have some green screen action. I've got some more background lighting to where I can light up the green screen and all that stuff. So we're getting a little bigger. We're moving up in the world thanks to you guys out there. I do really appreciate it, seriously. And guys, if you stick with me and you help me grow this channel, like I said, I don't forget that. And I remember the people that were with me in the beginning, and but we'll get there. We're going to make the show better. Again, my goal would be to have a show that truly is very interactive with everybody, to where we can actually help some people, learn some things, have some cool stories. It would be really cool. I've got some really cool ideas for some background while I'm doing the show. So we'll have to definitely, I don't know. We'll see. I've got some plans coming up. We're getting there. So looks like we really don't have much questions. So that's cool. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we do. Sometimes people pop in with some last minute ones. But again, I want to appreciate or I want to appreciate. I appreciate. I don't want to appreciate. Hey, this is live, man. This is all I got. Okay. All right. It's live. All right. I'm going to say things. I'm going to mess up. I can't go back and edit. I could do an edited version, but, I want to keep it real for you guys. So, anyways, I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, and if you're watching this and you're following, like, the set list or something, if you're the playlist, if you're watching this, keep in mind the next one may not be next week. I know I missed last week. I know you guys are gonna be like, sometimes I'm gonna miss a week here and there. Well, I've got to go down to Florida. I got some family business we got to take care of. So most likely, maybe I can. I don't know. If I'm back and my wife's cool and stuff with everything, my wife is awesome. She has been a huge supporter. She, just real quick, when I was like here with paranormal, it's like when I met her, she helped me elevate my knowledge. And not because she was that much more knowledgeable in that sense, but because she brought new stories, she brought new experiences, and she brought new things that I didn't think of. So it made me start doing more research and push me to another level to learn new things. So you're more knowledgeable. Okay. So she pushed my level of knowledge to another level. So I definitely owe her a big thank you on that one. And she did introduce me some new concepts and things that I went and learned, and now I have my theories on and put it all together. But in any case, maybe next week if I get back from Florida, because I'm definitely going. I just don't know what day I'm going to be back and how tired I'm going to be and all that. So if I'm back on time, maybe I can try to get you guys another show next week. Maybe we'll do protection, and the week after that maybe we'll do witchcraft or something. Just depends. We got to line somebody up, because I think if I'm going to do witchcraft, we're going to have somebody on here that deals in that and that has knowledge of it, so we can at least learn about it and see what they say. But in any case, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Seek the truth.